Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm coming from Canada's biggest ghetto community, which is called Jane and Finch. But today I want to do something different. Normally when the media comes into this area, or even like YouTube vloggers, they focus on the negative aspect of a Jane and Finch community and the negative connotation that's associated with a ghetto community. Today I want to do a different spin. Today I want to go deep into the history of this community, Jane and Finch, how it started and how it's moving forward in the future. So just stick around and I'm going to do this. Jane and Finch. Yes, so when you think, when you go anywhere in North America, in the Caribbean, and you think of like a ghetto, once you think of the word ghetto, you think of like predominantly black and brown community, low income, high crime rate, just poverty, you know, single parent home, and that's what comes to your mind when you think about the word ghetto. So I'm a very curious person. I wanted to know, where did this word come from and when was it first used? So I, did some research, and interestingly, ghetto, the term was first used to describe poor Jewish people in Warsaw, Poland. And I'm like, that is fascinating to me, because in today's society, when you think about ghetto, like a Jewish person is the furthest thing that comes to your mind. It's predominantly black and brown people. So, I found that to be a bit interesting. And as I said, this video is more of an educational video. It's not anything to talk about to bring down the community of Jane and Finch, because Jane and Finch to me is an amazing community. So follow me as I take you on this tour of the community, the Jane and Finch community, the Jane and Finch Plaza, and the history behind Jane and Finch. Yes, so the Jane and Finch Mall is surrounded by a lot of towers, which was built back in the 60s as one of Canada's first, the biggest urban city in Canada. So as you can see, there's like 3 high-rise buildings right there in front of us. This building directly in front of me, this was the building that my wife was born in when her parents moved to Canada back in the days. And as you can see, it's like we're looking at about 10 to 15 high-rise building that's surrounding the Jane and Finch Mall. So yeah, this is a very I would say not condensed, but there's a lot of high-rise buildings in this community, much more than single like family homes. A lot of high-rise buildings, and also this building is a very it doesn't feel like a ghetto community. In this area there's like 2 major malls and 3 shopping center to go with it. One of the shopping center you can see right in front of me. So yeah, this is a very nice community, I would say. Okay, so this is the entrance. There's like 3 main entrance to the Jane and Finch Mall. This is one of the main entrance, as you can see the sign there, and that's the entrance to get inside the mall. As you can see, this does not feel anything like a ghetto area, right? Because you see the entrance to the mall right there. You see Popeyes. You can see that's a Shoppers Drug Mart, which is Canada's like premier pharmacy. There's Tim Hortons there, which is Canada's biggest coffee franchise. So the mall doesn't feel like coming from Jamaica. When when you hear the term ghetto, you're thinking about like broken down community, like high crime rates, no running water, or people stealing light and water, and just like a deplorable looking community. That's what you think. But when you look here, you see that this is nothing like that. This is a very developed community here. Yes, so one of my main reasons for doing this video too is that the Jane and Finch Mall as we know it will no longer exist years to come. There's a massive urban development that's about to take place, and this is going to be one of the biggest urban development in North America's history. Not Canada, North America, including America itself. So right on the spot here now where the Jane and Finch Mall is, there's a proposal to rip down the mall and to put a 10 high-rise tower, which will comprise of towers that span 50-story, above ground, where on the ground level will be the mall, and those 10 high-rise buildings will be like residential properties and stuff like that. So I believe that, these videos could be one of the last set of videos coming from Jane and Finch as we know it. So I'll be going into the mall and talking about the history and showing you how the mall looks right now. Okay, so this is one of the entrance. There's about 5 or 6 entrances to this mall. This mall is, as I said, when you talk about ghetto and coming from like Jamaica, this is nothing. This is not what we think of when we think about ghetto. Look at this. This is, such a beautiful setting and everything. And even though in Canada there is a lot of we have some of the best malls in the world, like Yorkdale, one of our top mall, is one of the most luxurious mall in North America. But most Jamaicans and Caribbean nationals, people from Africa, if you need to find stuff for yourself, this is where you're coming to. As you can see there, Caribbean stuff, you see the Bob Marley shirts, you see all of those nice stuff in that store. So this is one of the malls that no matter how successful you are in Canada, if you are a person that's from the Caribbean or from Africa, you're coming to this mall to get your outfit, because a lot of the malls, those premier malls, the clothing and stuff that they provide is not necessarily what us from the Caribbean and African national, that is not what the type of clothes that we wear. They cater for mostly European design and stuff like that. So yeah, and as you can see here, this is a African outfit store. A lot of Africans stay authentic. You see the church dress, the party dress, the shirts, stay authentic to their culture. So, whenever you want something, this is where you come, not those big fancy malls. Yeah, so as I said, this mall in years to come will not exist anymore if everything goes according to plan. And as I said, it's going to be one of the biggest urban development in North America. And to me, I don't necessarily believe that is a bad thing. I believe what they're trying to do, they're trying to replace the word ghetto with urban. Urban is a more sophisticated term. But not only that, what they're trying to do is they are trying to get rid of communities, low-income communities in Canada. So what the proposal for this community going forward is to have mixed housing in terms of income. So in the same building, you would have a family median income that's $200,000, and you'd have a family that median income could be $50,000 or $60,000 in the same building, going to the same schools. Because what I think the government realized is that separating and building community for low income is it's considered like a breeding ground for crime and single parent home and stuff like that. So I don't necessarily think it's a bad idea. And there are a few communities that are up and running already that they are bringing those ideas to. So it's going to be very interesting to see if it works and how it works. Personally, I believe that it should work. So it is not a bad idea. Yeah, so, as I give you the small tour, I'm going to show you the reasons why people love to come to this mall itself. In particular, people like to come for the food and the clothing, because as I said, in some of those other malls, like if you are a Caribbean national and you're trying to go, like now we're in summer, it's Caribbean time, you want to get outfitted for like the summer, you go to a Yorkdale and those malls, they are more fitted for like European bodies and stuff like that, especially for women. You know, Caribbean women come to this mall, you find all of the like the dance hall design, the calypso, carnival attire and stuff like that. So this is why a lot of people, despite your socio-economic status, like you come as a Caribbean national and you do well, you make some money for yourself, you're still coming back here instead of going to those fancy malls to get clothes. So just stick with me and I'll show you why people love this mall. So my first stop is going to be Mona's Jerk. It is still very early, not yet lunchtime, but I'll just stop and get myself some Jamaican snacks. That's like a Jamaican restaurant right in this small food court here. So, you know, I'm just having a Jamaican beef patty, you know, and Jamaican, this is D&G cream soda. They have other Jamaican type stuff here, but not the authentic Jamaican brand. They have other brands of soda, but this is the only authentic from D&G. Normally I don't do cream soda, but you know, I want to stay authentic, so, and this is Jamaican beef patty. It's nothing compared to a juicy beef or tasties, you know, but sometimes Jamaicans in the diaspora would understand, you know, sometimes when you're away, you just need something Jamaican. You know it's not going to compare to the authentic thing, but just the fact that you're eating like a beef patty, even though it doesn't taste anything like, you know, the real Jamaican stuff, you still appreciate it. This cream soda, I'm sure will be authentic because this is coming straight from Jamaica, but this, you know, is made here by the store, Mama's Jerk. You know, a lot of people make their own patties here instead of shipping patties from different places. They just make their own. So, you know, it's good, but it's not the same. It's not spicy. It doesn't have the same amount of flavor. Not a lot of spice. And I find what happens here, because a lot of people from different culture, they appreciate Jamaican and Caribbean food, but they just can't manage the heat. So most restaurants reduce the heat just so that other culture can appreciate it. So now I'm at Roti Palace. Roti Palace is one of Toronto's top Trinidadian restaurant. So I'll stop here, get some doubles or some phulourie, whatever thing I can get Trini, right here. So I got my, we call it phulourie. And this is what it looks like some small, looks like almost like fried dumplings, very small, with tamarind sauce and some hot sauce on it. So, you know, like in these areas, normally Jamaican and Trinidadian and sometimes Guyanese food like dominates. Like even though there's a lot more Caribbean, like St. Vincent, Barbados, Montserrat, those places, but predominantly like the culture in terms of the food, it's predominantly like Jamaican, Trinidadian and Guyanese. So in this area you'll find a lot of Jamaican and Trinidadian restaurants. So phulourie. Can't believe I've never had this before. Tastes like dumpling. With all this, the tamarind sauce. It's not too tangy, and the hot sauce, not overly hot. But yeah, phulourie. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna have is some doubles. You know, this is Trinidadian, like premier street food. Oh, look at this. So this is what it looks like. Like a roti, a small shell with chickpea, hot sauce, tamarind sauce again in it. It's good. Yeah, the curry flavor is very smooth. The only thing is the dough is a bit more rubbery than like a bus-up shot or like a regular plain roti shell. It's a bit more rubbery. I don't know if it's always that consistency or it's just from this place, but the flavor is good. The curry, because a lot of times, sometimes the curry can be very overpowering, but I find this to be like smooth. I'm not sure if they smooth it out with like coconut milk or whatever, but you can taste the chickpea. There's not too much seasoning, and the curry is not overpowering. So yeah, Trinidad street food, doubles. Okay guys, so as I said, there's like 2 malls in this area, in the Jane and Finch area, and around 4 to 5 like plazas. So now I spent some time in the Jane and Finch Mall, you know, had some Jamaican and some Trini food. I'm going to drive across now to the other mall and give you a little idea of just the entire area of Jane and Finch. And what is interesting is that like in the city of Toronto, like when you mention Jane and Finch, is like there's like a dark cloud. Like when if you tell someone that you're coming to this area, they might like, you know, like, oh my God, be careful. Like you don't, you know, it's almost like you're going to like a war zone, the way how people react to like a area like Jane and Finch. But you know, you come in the area and you go to the mall is like busy, it's Monday, and it's just like a hustle and bustle inside the mall. Nobody's like clutching their purse. Nobody's worried about someone grabbing their phone and, you know, run away with it. So it's just so amazing what like stigma can do when an entire community is stigmatized based on like maybe history or based on what, you know, a few incidents and stuff like that. So, you know, I found that to be very interesting. But as I said, like a lot of Caribbean nationals, a lot of Africans and, you know, other people, when they want like urban design, you don't get good urban design of some of the premier malls. So you have to come to these areas like to get, you know, good like for, you know, as I said earlier, women that are going out, Caravana is coming up. You know, you're going on the street for Caravana, you're going for all the summer boat rides and stuff like that. You don't get the same quality of urban design in those like premier malls because they cater for more European body type and all of that. So I'm going to take you across to the other mall and I'll check in with you. So I just pulled up to the second mall, which is York Gates Mall. As you can see, that's the mall behind me there. And I'm not sure, you know, wherever you're watching from in the world, I'm not sure if you have ever gone to like a ghetto community and seen like 2 major malls inside a ghetto community. I've never seen it before. And as I said, like in this area, like you don't feel unsafe. You don't feel like anyone is about to grab your phone or your purse or anything like that. And to have like 2 malls like in one area, it never seen it before. And right across from me now, I'm going to show you a look at the LRT. That's a new LRT transit that it's going up in, it's about to open in like 2 months or so. That's another multi-billion-dollar project, transit project. So in a few months in the Jane and Finch area, you will no longer have buses in this area. It's just like a light rail train system that will be running through the Jane and Finch area. And that's amazing, like for a ghetto area to have like these type of developments going on. So just take a look. Okay, guys. So this is it. So you look across there, you see that's the main stop for the light rail trains, and you can see there's one parked right there. Look over there. There's like several trains. Like I know, like they run them like on a daily basis just to keep them in shape, but the system is not fully up yet. So yeah, this is what's happening. You know, see, Finch West, MSF. Yeah, this is the ghetto area that they talk about. Jane and Finch. Look at that. Several trains, the new hub, and all of this development that is taking place in Jane and Finch. Okay, so I'm heading towards the mall now to go inside the mall. And as I said, like it's a Monday afternoon, the mall is busy, the car park is filled with cars. You know, like I'm seeing Benz, I'm seeing Tesla, I'm seeing Range Rovers, I'm seeing, you know, it doesn't feel like a ghetto to me. And, you know, like in the mall itself, you know, you can see they have like a Tim Hortons, they have Harvey's, they have like a Planet Fitness gym. So I don't know about you, but this doesn't feel ghetto to me. Okay, so now I'm on the inside and this is what it looks like. So, you know, it's similar to the Jane and Finch Mall. It's called York Gates. I think it's a bit smaller, but you know, this is it, going up on the escalator. Yeah, so like in these two malls, you find like a heavy Caribbean presence. You know, a lot of Caribbean outlets, like in the food court. You find a lot of Caribbean, like fashion, as I said, that Caribbean nationals like to wear, you know, stuff like that. So it caters more to, as I said, urban, you know, black community. So this is where most people from the Caribbean would shop. It's nice and cool, fully air conditioned, nice, quiet, clean. And as I said, it's just a different, like if you have never been in this area before, if you come from one of those privileged communities in Ontario and you have never been to this area before, just what you hear on the news, like you feel like you probably need a bulletproof vest or something, like you never come into this community, but it's far from the truth. It's, you know, I'm not saying that there's no crime or anything like that, but you know, and I'm going to give you some stats on you know what, you know, one of the unique thing about Canada and the US, and that is something that I like about Canada and the US, that they have stats for everything. So in Canada, like if you want to live in a community and you want to know what that community is about, like from the median household income to the average cost of homes in those areas, you just go online and you just pull up those information and they're right there for you. So I'm going to give you some of those information to give you an idea how this area stands up compared to other areas in Ontario and in Canada in general. One of the things that I can appreciate with Canada also is that Canada is a very diverse country, especially in Ontario. Ontario is the most multicultural city in the world, and the people from all over the world, you know, come here and they settle here. But one of the things that I've realized with diversity, like when people come from their country, sometimes they try to find people from their own country to kind of live amongst each other. So for example, like in this area, in the Jane and Finch area, you'll find a lot of the supermarkets, and you'll find the mall, as I'm pointing out, that will cater to Caribbean nationals. That the same thing that you would go to like a Jamaica, a Trinidad or Barbados, and you'll get in a store, you'll get them here in terms of the same design of clothes, the same food, everything like that. You go in there are predominant Jewish areas, you go in those areas and you'll find the same thing. You'll find a lot of like kosher stuff in terms of the food that they like. You won't find it in any other area, but you'll find it there because it's heavily populated by people from Israel. So that is a unique thing with Canada that I can appreciate. And those are just two examples, but in other communities, it is the same thing. Okay, so yes, I'm just giving a proper tour of, Jane and Finch, everything about Jane and Finch to show you that it's not this like broken down, impoverished community, and that it's not unsafe. And, right now I'm stepping into the elevator to go down to the ground floor. Yeah, everything is working. The elevator in the mall is working. As I said, nice, clean mall. So it's not like this broken down. And interestingly, I think in Toronto so far, in this community, the Jane and Finch community, is the least homelessness I've seen in Ontario, because Ontario has become like the homeless capital of Canada. But interestingly, when you drive around Jane and Finch, you don't see a lot of any tent cities. You see tent city downtown, you see in other areas, but not in Jane and Finch. So that's another interesting fact. Okay, so one of the things when I'm doing videos like this, what I don't know, I like to do my research. And what is interesting, as I said earlier, is that in Canada and in America, there's a lot of stats out there. So in doing some of the research, I found some interesting stats for this video. So Jane and Finch area that I'm talking about is known as one of the Canada's biggest ghetto. That's how they would call it. It's like a high risk area, for most people. That's what they consider it. So I'm going to give you some stats in terms of crime rate in Ontario, Canada. And this crime rate is based on 100,000 people. So for example, in Jane and Finch, the numbers per 100,000 people for violent crime, which could be like assault or robbery or anything like that, not death, not murder rate or anything like that, just violent crime, being attacked, being viciously attacked and stuff like that. So the numbers are, in Jane and Finch, it's 3,940 approximately per 100,000 people. So for every 100,000 people that live in this area, they would say 3,900 would experience what would consider violent crime in the span of 1 year. In Toronto itself, the number is 2,900, so that's a difference of 1,000. In Ontario itself, it's 3,100, and what's interesting is the national average is over 4,000. So just to give some numbers, another interesting number that I saw in these, it's like the median income. So median income, it's like not the average income, but it's like somewhere in the middle. So the median income for someone living in Jane and Finch, not like a family, household income, the median household income in Jane and Finch is approximately 57,000, 56,000 and some dollars. That's the average household income. And I think normally they calculate that like husband, wife, or whoever lives in the home. So that is 56. And then in Toronto, it's roughly 82,000. And then in the province of Ontario, it's 87,000. So those are just some interesting information that I pulled to do this video. And another interesting information also is marriage rate. So marriage rate in Jane and Finch is at a 51%, which I think it's okay. In Toronto, it's 67%, and in the province of Ontario, 71% marriage rate, which is really good. So those are just some numbers, and I think when we make the argument about what leads to crime, what leads to like robbery and like assault and stuff like that, and people try to argue that it's not financially motivated, it has nothing to do with money or anything like that, it's just your innate it's just an innate thing, it's just you're born criminals. Sometimes people try to make that point, but it is interesting that most of the areas that are considered ghetto areas in Canada, the median income is below the poverty line, because $50,000 might be something that you can survive on. 50,000 Canadian dollars, you'll do well in Jamaica, but in Canada, that can't even cover rent or mortgage for 1 year for most Canadians. So that's some interesting facts that I just wanted to share in doing this video.